Welcome to Cold Brew Finance's end-of-day world currencies, stock markets and commodities wrap-up for Tuesday, June 10th, 2025. Kicking things off, I'm Victoria Cashmore. Major currencies showed mixed movement against the greenback. The US dollar maintained a very strong negative trend against most major currencies, with particularly notable weakness against the euro and British pound. Year-to-date returns highlight significant dollar weakness, with the greenback down 9.4% against the euro and 7.3% versus the pound sterling. Against the Japanese yen, losses extend to 7.9%. The dollar retreated 0.24% against the Canadian dollar, while gaining slightly versus the offshore yuan. Notable weakness continued against the Indian rupee, marking 5 consecutive days of decline. Year-to-date performance shows the greenback down 5% against the Canadian dollar and 7.6% versus the Kiwi. The Singapore dollar has strengthened significantly, with the US currency declining 5.8% since January.
Looking at global stock market tracking ETFs, I'm Max Profit. Poland leads with a 2.7% gain to 30.83. Denmark shows strong momentum, up 2% and marking 5 consecutive positive closes. Taiwan advances 1.9% with notable upward momentum. The week-to-date returns show impressive gains, with Poland leading at 4.7%. Taiwan and Denmark follow with gains of 3.1% and 2.5% respectively. Year-to-date, Poland stands out with a remarkable 47.7% return. Among declining markets, Singapore leads the losses, down 1.2% to 25.89, breaking downward after 3 flat days. Philippines follows with a 1% decline. Despite today's declines, both markets maintain strong, positive underlying trends. Looking at broader returns, despite today's declines, these markets show resilience in longer timeframes. Singapore maintains an 18.5% year-to-date gain, while Austria impresses with a nearly 40% return for the year, highlighting strong underlying momentum despite short-term weakness.
Considering commodities, I'm Liquidity. Gold futures and silver futures both show very strong positive trends, despite minor declines today. Aluminum futures stood out with a 2.3% gain, breaking upward after 3 days of consolidation. Monthly returns show silver futures leading with an 11% gain, while palladium futures follows at 12%. Year-to-date, gold futures leads the pack with a remarkable 26.6% return. In energy markets, natural gas futures declined 3.1%, marking its 3rd consecutive down day. Brent crude and crude oil futures both show mixed positive trends with strong upward volatility today. Month-to-date returns in energy show strength, with crude oil futures up 6.5% and heating oil futures gaining 6.4%. However, year-to-date, the sector remains challenged with most contracts in negative territory. Feeder cattle futures reached new all-time highs for the 5th consecutive day. Lean hogs futures surged 5.2%, also hitting new highs. Class 2I milk futures declined 1.7%. Year-to-date returns in livestock show lean hogs futures leading with a 33% gain. Feeder cattle futures follows with nearly 19%, while Class 2E milk futures lags, down 8.9%. In grains, wheat futures fell 1.9%, marking 3 consecutive down days. Oat futures dropped 2.6% after breaking downward from sideways movement. Soybean futures maintained its very strong positive trend. Year-to-date performance in grains shows oat futures up nearly 12%, while wheat futures has declined 5.7%. Soybean futures shows positive returns at 4.7%. Soft commodities showed mixed performance today. Cocoa experienced significant weakness, falling 11.1% to 9,041. Coffee futures declined 2.2% to 353.45. Cotton futures broke downward after 3 days of consolidation, while sugar showed an upward breakout from its recent flat trading pattern. Looking at returns, cocoa has experienced the sharpest weekly decline at minus 11.9%, with notably high daily volatility. Orange juice shows the largest year-to-date decline at minus 43.1%. Coffee futures maintains positive year-to-date returns at 10.5% despite recent weakness.
And with that, we conclude another end-of-day world currency, markets and commodities wrap-up. I'm Victoria Cashmore, along with my AI co-hosts Max Profit and Liquidity. Thanks for watching. Look for daily wrap-ups every day just after 5 p.m. New York time. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. Cold Brew Finance is an experimental project with market reports written, narrated and delivered totally by AI, with market data kindly provided by financialmodelingprep.com. Always seek professional financial advice before making any investment decisions. Check into the channel daily for coverage of stocks, crypto, currency and commodities. Thanks for watching.